Hey everyone! Nealay Patel here from Silver Silk and More. I'm the owner, designer, and educator at Silver Silk, and I've got the wonderfully talented, amazing designer, Miss Deb Floros.
Hello, everybody.
Deb and I have collaborated in a wonderful, what started as a blog post, now ended up as videos, for the 10 jewelry making mantras to live by. And these are a collection of specific, I don't know, I guess just things that are inspirational, practices that you can do, just a way of living in the bead world. But I will let Deb explain more in depth about what these mantras are, what they mean for Silver Silk, and what today's mantra that we're going to talk about is.
Hello, everyone. Thank you again, Nealay, for this fun collaboration. We were just talking about things should always be fun and lighthearted, and this is a great opportunity for both of us to take on something fun and lighthearted. The mantras, the 10 mantras, are really things that I personally sit down and do when I come in to the mess that is around me in my studio right now and say, what do I do today? I want to do something, but what do I do? And I kind of go through a mental checklist of some things that might challenge me or stretch me and help me to get out of a creative rut. And whether you're an experienced jewelry maker or you're just getting started, these are kind of some challenges for you guys to get out and try something different, think about something through a different lens. So we created these 10 ideas that, you know, if you need a checklist to kind of go down and help you make sense out of what's around you in your workspace, I think these are some things you can turn to.
Well, I certainly look at the list and it's inspired me to be able to create and revisit some stuff that I think I was kind of doing, but now I've got a more broad knowledge about it just because we were able to translate it into words and put it down in writing and just mark it as a checklist item, as you just mentioned.
Yeah. It's like things that you subconsciously do. And sometimes when you actually have to put it on paper, you think, wow, I actually do that. Do I actually do that? Yes, I do that.
Yes. So the way our brain works, right? It's just we both have different walks of life and creativity that we offer. And yet somehow we were able to come up with this same concise list and re-explore what that means for each of us. And speaking of, we're talking about one specific one today.
Yes. Number 4, which I can't believe it's already number 4.
I know.
This one is called Whimsy Works. And it's all about trying to think about things through that whimsical lens. And I thought what I would do to get us started is actually define whimsy. I had to actually look it up myself. So what does that mean? It means playfully quaint or fanciful behavior or humor, and a thing that is fanciful or odd. Now, I didn't think about whimsy as odd, but I suppose that word could be used that way. But I think about it more in the fanciful vein, and the humor and the when I take that definition and translate it into this mantra, I think it's something that really kind of just makes you smile, or might make someone else smile. So if you're making something for you, or you're making something for a friend or a family member, you might want to tap into what is it that makes you smile or makes that person smile. And if you're making something to sell, well, surely somebody's going to smile if you come up with something whimsical. So this is that challenge. And we said in our blog, please forgive me, I have to refer to the paperwork.
It's okay. I had to look it up on the Silver Silk website myself. So if you guys are wanting to check out where that blog post is, you can go to silversilkonline.com and underneath where the footer is, underneath the side, I guess I should say, where the footer is, you'll see a little link for the Silver Silk School of Design, or School for Design. And in there, you can find our blog posts that we've been working on.
Yes. And you can go back, you can go forward. It's all, the world is your oyster, really.
Yes, absolutely.
So we told people, mantra challenge wise, that they should find a photo of a motif, an icon, an object, a fruit, something that inspires them. And I was thinking about this. Maybe the photo is your photo, maybe of a vacation or a fun time that you had with a friend or a family member. Or it could be something you just see online. You're, messing around in Pinterest, or you see somebody post a really inspirational photo of something, and there's your moment. There's your trigger to put together something that has a sense of whimsy. I'll tell you that whimsy was not my thing for a really long time. So when I started designing, I was very serious about it, things had to be very just so. I sort of had more of a thought process of, is this something that's acceptable in a work environment? I was very aware of that in the beginning. Well, that's all out the window now. I'm not serious at all. Well, I mean, I am, but I am a very whimsical person. I'm a bit like a cartoon character, I think, sometimes. So I'm full on into the whimsy thing now. And we're filming this just a week or so before Halloween, and I've been all over the Halloween whimsy, let me tell you. So I think it's really important, and especially in this time that we've been in the last year and a half or so, lots of craziness in the world. We could all use a little whimsy. So if this isn't you normally, here's a chance to stretch yourself a little bit and do something fun. So silver silk, I think, is one of the ways that gets you there. It's fun material to work with. I mean, it's whimsical in and of itself. It has that sort of glinty, bright, cheery, the colors that you've got, the material itself. It's just fun. So the challenge is to take silver silk and insert more whimsy into it and see where you land.
I think that's brilliant. I think the way that you laid out whimsy from its definition into what it means for you, and to come up with something that is joyful and a personal form of self-expression, especially, to me, is the perfect way to celebrate what whimsy is for you. And I think you hit the nail on the head with coming up with an exercise, whether it's to find something, an object or a definition or something that can be made into some sort of object with silver silk, is a great practice. And I know you had a bracelet design, I think, that you did, that you wanted to maybe show us.
Yeah, can I show you that now?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so let me flip you around here. Get it set up into my tripod. So can you see that all right?
Yes, it's beautiful.
So this is my take on whimsy. So what started my inspiration, honestly, was the colors of this silver silk capture chain. My first thought, and at the risk of sounding a little bit like a lush, my first reaction to those colors together was, wow, that looks like some kind of a tropical drink, maybe like a tequila sunrise.
Ooh.
And if I were to be drinking a tequila sunrise, where might I be drinking that tequila sunrise? And my thought was, I might be drinking the tequila sunrise in a lounge chair under a palm tree.
You were after like my vision, like vacation, best thing ever.
So I'm a big tropical vacation person. So So I easily got there. And that was my, so the colors brought up the vacation memory, brought up something whimsical. And I thought, what a fun thing to do to create something that brings forth a memory for me, makes me smile. And, this is kind of subtle whimsy, because if you see this from afar, I'm not really sure that you would know what it is. But I'll share quickly kind of how I put it together. So I've got these 3 strands of capture chain, and these colors together are divine. And the silver silk end caps, the trios, are amazing. So they show off a triple strand bracelet and make a triple strand bracelet very easy. And then I pulled out this green hollow mesh, and I thought, huh, I wonder if I could make like palm fronds with that. So I cut, I think, 1.5 to 2 inch pieces, and I literally kind of smushed, that's a very technical term, smushed down the middle sections, and then sort of squished, another technical term, squished the ends to create sort of a point to them. And then I said, okay, so how am I going to get these on here? And I started to make this little sort of homemade connector for a clasp. And I grabbed some, I think, if I remember right, it's 26 or 28 gauge wire, and started stringing it through the wire. And of course, I needed coconuts. So I've got some little tiny bronze size 15 seed beads kind of interspersed into the little coils. So the coils are holding the silver silk together, and they're also acting as part of the decoration and part of the focal and creating the coconuts. So I just thought that was super fun, whimsical, makes me think about drinking a nice drink under a palm tree. And to me, that's whimsy. That's whimsy. Right there.
I love it. I think the palm tree is so clever. And I think, and you can attest to this, but I think some folks might think that the palm tree green might be a little bit too, like it would stick and kind of poke you whenever you're wearing it. But I bet it's pretty soft.
I pretty much road test everything that I make, because I am worried about wearability. This is wearable. This does not poke, does not feel uncomfortable. I do worry a little tiny bit about my wire work, because I'm not a master wire worker.
Neither am I.
But I would probably, all I would do to actually wear this routinely is I would grab a pair of round nose pliers, and I just tighten up my coils a little bit, just to make sure, my beads don't fall off, and that they're not going to catch on something. But honestly, the silver silk is very smooth. It does not create any kind of issues or problems. So fun little piece. I've been not wearing it because I decided I wasn't going to wear anything I made for the mantras until we actually talked about the piece. So now I can wear it.
Yes, you can wear it now, because the world needs your whimsy. I can tell you that. No, I think it's super impressive. I think you've done a fantastic job in demonstrating the whimsy factor, and it's very unexpected, just the way that you used the hollow mesh and made your own coconuts, and you made this beautiful triple strand bracelet that coordinates with the colors. And what you have left with is a great conversation piece whenever you're wearing it. It's just so fun to talk about.
And I can tell you, I really haven't had a tequila sunrise like in a really long time. It's one of those drinks that you drank when you were younger, and now you can't for very specific reasons.
Still sounds good though. Maybe we can do virgin ones where it's non-alcoholic but still has that great flavor.
A mocktail.
Yes, yes,
So,
absolutely.
so Nealay, as I turn my camera back around here, um, I have a very serious question for you.
Oh dear.
How are you going to respond to this mantra?
Are you challenging me?
I am.
I love how cheesy and corny we are, but I'd live for it. No, this is part of our video deal is that you show me the beautiful design that you've constructed, and now I am challenged by you and to show the other silkies that whimsy can be done. So let me pan over to my camera that is facing on my table, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to be working with today. And so I thought for me, whimsy meant like pure happiness. And I think when I look at a specific object, I get pure happy from it. And for me, that object is a rainbow. So
Oh,
yeah,
I
and
love that.
there's just so many beautiful things about the rainbow. And a good way to use up for this reason it's a great way to construct different things with it too, but you get to use up your scraps of silver silk, and you can put as many colors into this as you want, which is the fun part about it. And for me, I don't know, it just becomes a little whimsical pendant or earring or something down the road. So let me walk you through some of the construction with it, and we'll see where we end up at the end. You already got a
It'll be
cool
like,
little rainbow flash in there. But here I just have some scraps of silver silk that I gathered and put onto a head pin. So I started out with maybe about a 2-inch piece, and this is the pearlesque fuchsia color. And then followed with that is I think this is the teal color, which the teal pearlesque has a blue tinsel with a green wire that's been knitted over it. So you get this really great vibration of colors that looks more teal than blue or green. And then I've got silver pearlesque chain, which has the holographic rainbow tinsel inside. I mean, I'm bringing all the rainbows to my rainbow. And then I've got some seafoam pearlesque chain as well. And they're just cut in various lengths. They're from smallest to large. And I sort of just halved my length here and then insert it in a head pin. And then I just added a little accent bead there at the top and made myself a little wire wrap loop. So I wanted to sort of spare you guys the the monotony of that whole step just by doing it through. But you could already see this is going to be the basis of the construction of my rainbow. So now we just need to figure out how we're going to secure our ends and make it even more whimsical. So once I have that, I'm going to grab some 20 gauge wire. This is in silver color. And right now I'm working with about a foot of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm kind of gather up my rainbow here, and I'm going to select a spot to kind of go through all of my rainbow bars here. So let's do about yay much down. This is about 3 beads or so from the edge there. And you'll have to kind of guess the measurement as you're first constructing this. I sort of just cut mine to the same length beforehand. But you might have scraps that are in different lengths, and that's perfectly okay. But more importantly, you just want this to stack up nice and organized and making sure that it's going to stay flat as you work with it. So you can see there it's laying pretty well. And I need to have some sort of a bead in the middle there because I want this to be very stabilized. So I recommend grabbing a 15 millimeter bead of your choice. I have this great clear crystal, and I didn't want my colors of my beads to compete with my rainbow, so I just went with a clear color scheme.
beautiful.
And then I'm going to string it through the other side. And this is one of the fun aspects about silver silk. It's that I'm really like inching this all the way down. You can string right through the knits and not have to worry about anything fraying or, coming apart or anything. You just simply sew it right through it.
Amazing.
So again, I'm just gonna check to make sure that everything is nice and stacked up here. And you can always take it out and readjust accordingly if you want to. Very easy to take apart and put back together. So that looks pretty good. I'm gonna move it down to where I have about 5 to 6 inches of wire on each end there. And I've got a little bit of silver silk hanging out here at the bottom that I'm going to trim off right now. So I want to have a couple beads here at the end so that I can have it kind of just hang out there. That way it won't unfray those last couple knits to get that wire loose or anything. I want to make sure that it's all nice and tidy there at the bottom. So I just typically do 2 of the beads of the ball chain. Okay. You'll notice that a lot of wire scraps come out. I call these little wire fuzzies. It just sometimes happens whenever you cut your knitted wire, and it's perfectly fine. We can just simply shake those off at the end here. And again, you do not have to worry about your wire fraying at all. It won't do that on you, especially because we have a little bit of slack there at the bottom, which is perfect. But I'm just going to shake this right out. Sometimes you'll need to pluck them out with your chain nose pliers.
I love how you actually used non-traditional rainbow colors. I mean, you can make a rainbow with any array of colors, and that that little set of colors there is beautiful for a rainbow.
Thank you. Yeah, I think life's too short to play it literal, which I think in the very attitude of this particular mantra, this very spirit of it.
Yes.
Why go with the norm, right?
Yes, exactly. Nailed it.
So at this point, I want to do a couple things. I'm going to go ahead and actually trying to think this out thoroughly here. I want to attach some beads at the bottom.
Oh.
And I'm going to do that now because of construction things. So I have these little like pre-made baubles that I can put that I think I'm going to kind of divvy up and put in between those rainbow, I don't know what you call the rainbow stripes, maybe? Is there like a term that I'm missing for
Yeah.
each
Is
rainbow?
it like a band?
Oh, that's a good word.
I don't know.
I don't know. I just sometimes I'm short on words and just rely on my friends to like help me out. I'm gonna attach it between the bands of colors there. And I just use a small jump ring and some additional head pins again to make those baubles. And these jump rings are roughly about maybe 3 millimeters in size and work perfectly for just nesting right in there.
Pretty sparkle.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm just going to disperse and close out. So you can see that now my little baubles are attached very securely. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side too. You can go symmetrical or you could switch things up. Totally up to you. Let's see what it looks like if I switch it up though. I probably want my longest piece in the middle there and then have this sort of randomized. I kind of like that asymmetry, so I'm going to go with it. Okay, so I'm just going to open up my jump rings and insert them in. And you can put on as many baubles as you want. I just think that you can really go nuts with the sparkles with a rainbow and not be incorrect.
You can never have too much sparkle, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. Bring on the sparkles.
Bring it. Bring it.
Okay. Last one here. And I'm going to sandwich this between the blue and the silver. Perfect. So at this point, I can start to figure out some additional little motifs here. So what I'm going to do with the leftover wire is I'm going to coil it and make little clouds out of it.
Oh.
So this is probably the most exciting part, but I kind of want to make sure that I get this right if I'm thinking about it logically, because I want to do a couple layers of clouds. So I'm going to have an additional 5-inch piece of wire that works itself into the knits here. And that would give me 3 scrolls of wire to work with on each side. So you can kind of just go above the last round there and just work your way through. And it could just be on the surface of the knits. Doesn't have to be fully through it at all. And I think at this point, it looks like a lot of wires are sticking out, but that's perfectly fine. What we can do is start scrolling one of our wires here and start to get our clouds formed. So to do this, I'm just going to grab the tip of the wire with my round nose pliers. And I'm going to start to roll it in. And you'll notice that there's a little flat part on my roll. And I want to cut that off at a slight angle. And then I'm going to re-grasp it into, and I apologize because this is so close. But I'm going to just kind of roll it into the wire. So you could see that whenever I re-rolled it, because I cut off that straight part of that wire, it's going to create a nice round scroll.
That's a nice tip.
Yeah, I learned that from a fellow artist, Lisa Niven Kelly. And she is another beading genius out there in the bead world. I hope one day we can reconnect and do some stuff together. But she's an excellent teacher, and I learned some tips and tricks from her as well. Okay, so I am just scrolling to my heart's content here. You can kind of keep going until you start to scroll right onto that knitted wire mesh. And you can see that that's the bottom part of my first cloud. Now I'm going to just create more wire scrolls with this extra piece of wire. Oops, I want to switch to my round nose pliers. Okay, again, I've got a little straight edge there, so I'm going to trim that off. And because now I have that curvature, it should be easy to roll right into my scroll.
One of the first wire working classes I ever took, Nealay, was a project to make little scrolls like that, little rolls.
Oh, yeah?
I must have made like 100 of them. I don't know what I ended up doing with all of them, but I just sat and rolled wire for like days after. So fun.
Practice makes perfect. And yeah, I probably would have done the same too. I mean, I'm sure I did at some point because this didn't come naturally. I had to take a little bit of work.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a something that you got to practice.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm just going to flip that right over, and you could see that my 2 little baby clouds there are created. And I'm just going to create a third one that can kind of stack up there. So let's do this. Okay, again, it's always a little flat there, so I'm just going to trim that off. And I'm going to roll that wire right in. And then just continue scrolling. But not the kind on a computer. I'm going to do that kind of scrolling.
That's a whole different thing.
That's a whole different kind of scroll. Okay, when you get to a certain point, you can kind of start to flip it and play with it and just kind of get it to where it looks like a nice little like layered cloud, as you can see there.
That's so cute.
I think that's going to make an excellent pendant and gives a story of a rainbow in the clouds with some little raindrops falling, magical little raindrops. So we'll just finish out this end real quick. I've got another piece of wire that I pre-cut, and I'm just going to go ahead and slide that through at the same time as my current piece of wire. Okay. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but as long as it's kind of stationed in there, that's all we're looking for. Okay, I'm going to start with my longest piece of wire first. And I'm going to trim off just a little bit because it feels a little bit longer than I need it. And then I will start to do my scrolling. Okay. Now I just need to fold it in again and again. And you can use nylon jaw pliers for this part. I feel like I've got a very sensitive grip when it comes to like holding my findings and my wire. So really, I haven't experienced anything being scratched or any abrasion or color being, kind of worn off or whatever with anything that I'm doing. So, but if you are heavy-handed and like to really have a grip on everything, then you might want to do this with some nylon jaw pliers. Okay, so now I'm ready for my other two pieces. And you could see because I made that first scroll, it'd be really hard to get the second piece of wire through. So I went ahead and just did that ahead of time. I've got quite the mess of wires at my table here. So just clear out a nice little happy spot there.
Few one or two wire fuzzies there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's your world. You probably could you could, I don't know, create a whole jar full and make something fun out of that.
Yeah, it even reminds me of like sand art, if I just
Yeah.
had like a jar of fuzzies that I
Yeah. Someone would probably be interested in a jar of like a sand sculpture of wire fuzzies.
I'm sure they would ask a lot of questions, but it would be so much fun to explain what it is.
Yes, it would be such a fun story.
Okay, I'm actually just going to go ahead and flip this up like that and then scooch it down. And then that makes my little cloud there. Now I just got one more to wrap up here. And I've got a whimsical little rainbow. I guess I'm going to turn this into a pendant.
Yeah.
And I've got a little bit of silver silk out here that I could attach it to, in fact.
Just a single strand of silver silk or
More
more.
than sufficient. Yeah, for sure.
There's so many possibilities with this. Color-wise, you could do different colors of metal, different beads. I mean, such a fun little project. My gosh.
You really could, and I almost did fall colors for a little fall rainbow, but I already had these picked out, and I was like, I'm just going to go with the brights today. So again, you can kind of go back and adjust how you want your clouds to be laid out. I kind of like them stacked and layered like that. So you can do that. And then, or even like, it kind of looks like ocean water to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like those, what was it? The Japanese artists that had the beautiful waves, tsunami sort of I can't think of the artist for the life of me, but they're very popular Japanese prints. That reminds me of that.
Yeah, it's very sculptural.
So yeah, no, I'm just gonna attach a little bit of silver silk chain to this and call it good. And I've
That
done my whimsical
you totally,
interpretation
you
of Deb's
totally,
challenge.
you totally nailed it. Seriously. I mean,
Let's see if I can add
that
you
is
back
whimsy.
in. There you are. Here we go. I have to now wear my whimsical pendant.
I should put my bracelet on too. I did not do that.
Actually, I should lift it up a little bit so you guys can see it. You can wear your bracelet now because we're done with the challenge.
There it is.
Yes!
There it is.
Perfect.
We did it. We nailed
We
it.
did it. We're both whimsical, and I feel invigorated and inspired. And there's a lot of different motifs when it comes to whimsy that you could really pull out and justify why it's whimsical to you. Because you're right in the fact that like we're so serious all the time, but I think having a sophisticated sense of humor shown through fashion can really speak volumes for your personality and just what you're, again, just making that conversation piece, whether it's worn to a party or just if you're trying to give it as a gift or something, maybe it's meaningful to the other person. So
Yeah.
I think this is a fun challenge, and I think everyone should try it.
I think we are challenging everybody to try it, right? I mean,
Yes, it's a challenge to you guys now. Well, Deb, I enjoyed this so much. I'm so sparkly right now. And for all our friends out there, we encourage you to try Whimsy Works as the mantra for your month. And you can post your designs to the Silver Silk Silkies Facebook group and share in the whimsical environment that we have. Typically, I've been doing giveaways every month. So if you're looking for information on what that giveaway is, whenever it's conducted, join us in the Silkies group and we will have all the information there for you. And we'll have people posting stuff so you could see what their whimsy is and maybe try something that you would like as your own whimsy.
and don't forget hashtag Silver Silk Mantra.
Yes, we want to be able to find your post. So don't forget to hashtag Silver Silk Mantra within your post comment. That's a good tip, Deb. You had many good tips and tricks this evening, so just keep them coming.
Yep.
All right, you guys. Well, we hope you have left inspired, educated, and motivated to try Whimsy Works or just creating another fashionable piece, whether it's a rainbow pendant or something fun. And we will see you again on the next mantra. Until then, keep it fun and creative. And we love you. Mwah.